The rain drummed against the windows of the corner cafe as Ryan Martinez wiped down tables, his daughter Mia coloring quietly at their usual spot near the window. At 34, Ryan had become accustomed to this routine, picking Mia up from kindergarten, bringing her to the cafe where he worked the afternoon shift, making sure she had crayons and snacks while he finished his hours. It wasn't the life he'd imagined at 20, when the world had seemed full of possibility. But it was a good life, built on the ruins of harder times, and he was proud of what he'd survived to get here. The door chimed, bringing with it a gust of wet wind and a woman shaking rain from her blonde hair. She wore an elegant white blouse and dark jeans, and something about the way she moved made Ryan's breath catch. He knew her. Even after 15 years, he knew her. Claire? The name escaped before he could stop it. The woman turned, and her eyes widened with the same recognition. Ryan! Oh my God, Ryan Martinez? They stood staring at each other across the cafe, the years collapsing between them. Claire Donovan had been his first love, his high school sweetheart, the girl he'd planned a future with before life had taken them in completely different directions. Daddy, who's that? Mia asked, looking up from her coloring. The question brought Ryan back to the present. An old friend, sweetheart. Claire, this is my daughter, Mia. Claire approached their table, her professional composure giving way to genuine warmth. Hello, Mia. What are you drawing? A rainbow. With a unicorn. Mia held up her artwork proudly. That's beautiful. I love the purple you used. Ryan gestured to a chair. Would you like to sit? I'm actually working, but my shift ends in about 20 minutes. I'd like that. Claire sat down, and Ryan brought her a coffee before returning to his tasks, hyper-aware of her presence in his cafe. When his shift ended, Ryan joined Claire and Mia at the table. Up close, he could see that Claire had changed in the ways people do over 15 years. There were laugh lines around her eyes, a confidence in her bearing that hadn't been there when they were young. So, Claire said, tell me about your life. How did you end up here? Ryan took a breath. This was always the hard part. The summary of years that couldn't quite capture the reality. After we broke up, I went to community college like we'd planned. Met someone, got married too young. Mia came along when I was 28. The marriage didn't last. I've had custody of Mia for 2 years now. I work here and do freelance graphic design on the side. I'm sorry about your marriage. Don't be. We were better parents apart than together. Mia's happy, which is what matters. He paused. What about you? Last I heard, you'd gotten into Stanford. Claire smiled, but there was something wistful in it. I did. Got my MBA, worked my way up in tech. I'm the CEO of Donovan Digital now. We do software solutions for small businesses. That's incredible. You always said you'd run a company someday. I did, and I do. It's everything I worked for. She looked out at the rain. It's also lonely. I'm 34 years old, and I've built an empire but forgotten to build a life. Ryan understood that feeling more than she probably realized. I know what you mean. Different circumstances, but I get it. Success looks different than we imagined. Do you regret it? The way things turned out? Sometimes. But then Mia laughs at something silly, or draws me a picture, or tells me about her day. And I remember that some detours lead exactly where you need to be. They talked for over an hour, catching up on 15 years in the way old friends do, filling in the gaps and finding the threads of who they used to be still woven into who they'd become. Mia colored and occasionally interjected with observations about unicorns or requests for more juice. When Claire finally stood to leave, she hesitated. Ryan, would you want to get coffee sometime? Actually get coffee, not just happen to be in the same cafe? I'd like that. Though I should be honest, my schedule is complicated. I have Mia most of the time, and I work 2 jobs, and dating hasn't been a priority because I don't have much to offer right now. Claire looked at him directly. I'm not asking because I think you need rescuing or because I'm looking for a project. I'm asking because talking to you for an hour was the most genuine conversation I've had in months. And because I'd like to know the person you've become, not just remember who you were. They exchanged numbers, and Claire bent down to Mia's level. It was very nice to meet you, Mia. You're an excellent artist. Thank you. Are you going to be my daddy's friend? I hope so, if that's okay with you. Okay. But you have to like rainbows and unicorns. I think I can manage that. Over the following weeks, Ryan and Claire built a friendship that was new rather than a continuation of what they'd had before. They met for coffee when Ryan's schedule allowed, sometimes with Mia, sometimes without. They texted about mundane things, articles they'd read, frustrations with work, Mia's latest artwork. Claire learned about Ryan's life in detail, the struggle of single parenthood, the exhaustion of working multiple jobs, the constant calculation of whether he could afford new shoes for Mia or if he should wait another month. She learned that he was resourceful, devoted, and had a quiet strength that came from surviving difficult things. Ryan learned that Claire's success had come with sacrifices, relationships that couldn't handle her ambition, friendships that had faded as she climbed the corporate ladder, a persistent feeling that she'd achieved everything she'd set out to do, but somewhere along the way had forgotten to ask if those achievements made her happy. I have everything I thought I wanted, Claire told him one afternoon at the park while Mia played on the swings. A successful company, financial security, respect in my field. But I eat dinner alone every night. I work weekends because I have nothing else to do. I can't remember the last time someone asked how my day was and actually cared about the answer. Success is different for everyone, Ryan said. For me right now, success is Mia being happy and healthy. Everything else is just logistics. Don't you want more? Don't you have dreams beyond just getting by? Of course. But dreams are flexible. I used to dream about being a famous designer, having gallery shows, making a name for myself. Now I dream about having health insurance that covers dental, about saving enough to take Mia to Disneyland, about maybe someday having a relationship with someone who understands that my daughter comes first, but who I can build something with anyway. Claire was quiet for a moment. That sounds like a good dream. As their friendship deepened, they both felt the pull of something more. But they were also cautious, both having learned that wanting something wasn't enough to make it work. 3 months into their renewed friendship, Claire made a decision. Ryan, I need to be honest with you about something. They were at the cafe again, Mia at her art table, rain against the windows like the day they'd reconnected. I have feelings for you. Real feelings. And I know that's complicated because we're in very different places in life. I'm a CEO with resources and flexibility. You're a single dad working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. And I don't want you to think I'm coming at this from a place of wanting to fix your life or rescue you. Ryan felt his heart race. What are you coming at this from? From wanting to be part of your life. From admiring the father you are and the person you've become. From thinking about you when I should be thinking about quarterly earnings. From wanting to text you about everything and nothing. From caring about Mia and wanting to be someone she can count on. Claire, I can't offer you the kind of life you're used to. I can't take you to fancy restaurants or go on expensive trips. My apartment is small. My car is old. My ex-wife drama is ongoing. And Mia will always come first. I know. And I'm not asking you to offer me a lifestyle. I'm asking if there's room in your life for someone who wants to be part of it. Who wants movie nights on your couch and park trips with Mia and whatever life actually looks like for you, not some fantasy version? What about the difference in our circumstances? That doesn't bother you? Honestly, I make more money than I know what to do with. Money stopped mattering to me a long time ago. What matters is finding people who see me as Claire, not as the CEO or the successful woman or the potential business connection. You see me, you always have. Ryan took her hand. I have feelings for you too. I've been trying not to because it seemed impossible. But yeah, I think about you constantly. I want to call you when something funny happens. I love that Mia lights up when she knows you're coming over. I love that you bring her art supplies and that you remember which unicorn is her favorite. So can we try this? Carefully, slowly, with Mia's needs first? Yes, but Claire, I need you to understand something. I can't afford to fail Mia. She's already been through her parents' divorce. If we do this and it doesn't work out, it affects her too. So we have to be sure. Or as sure as anyone can be. I understand. We'll take it slow. We'll be intentional. And if either of us has doubts, we talk about them. They dated for a year before Claire met Ryan's parents, before they talked about a future that included both of them. They were careful and deliberate, building something solid rather than rushing into something that might crumble. Claire didn't try to solve Ryan's financial problems with money. Instead, she helped him build his freelance design business, making connections, reviewing his portfolio, teaching him how to price his work appropriately. Ryan started earning enough that he could cut back his cafe hours and spend more time with Mia. Ryan didn't treat Claire like an ATM or expect her to fund their relationship. He insisted on paying his share, on contributing, on maintaining his independence, even when it would have been easier to let her cover everything. They built something based on mutual respect and genuine partnership, where her business acumen and his creative skills complemented each other, where her resources and his resilience created something neither could have built alone. 2 years after their reunion, Claire proposed. Not in a grand public gesture, but in the cafe where they'd found each other again, with Mia there to witness it. "I want to marry you," Claire said simply. "I want to be Mia's stepmom. I want us to be a family, not because I'm rescuing you or because you need me, but because we're better together than apart." Ryan looked at his daughter, who was bouncing with excitement, clearly in on the plan. Then at Claire, who was looking at him with hope and certainty. "Yes," he said, "but I have a condition." "What's that?" "I want to contribute equally to our life together. Not financially, because that's never going to be equal, but in partnership, in decision-making, in building our future. I won't be a kept man or a +1 to your life. I want to be your husband, your equal partner, even if our bank accounts don't match." I wouldn't want it any other way. They married 6 months later in a small ceremony that reflected both their values. Claire's elegant taste and Ryan's creative vision combined into something uniquely theirs. Mia was the flower girl and took her role very seriously. Years later, when people asked how they'd made their relationship work despite coming from such different circumstances, Claire would say, "We didn't try to erase our differences or pretend they didn't matter. We acknowledged them and built something that honored both our strengths." Ryan would add, "She didn't rescue me, and I didn't hold her back. We met each other where we were and built something new together." And Mia, when she was older, would tell the story of how her dad and Claire had found each other again in a cafe on a rainy day, and how sometimes the best love stories are the ones where people find each other twice, once when they're young and once when they're wise enough to do it right. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about second chances, building partnerships across different circumstances, and finding love by being honest about who you really are and what you really need.